This project involved a study where we enrolled children with autism spectrum disorders immediately after their diagnosis, and we followed them till the end of grade 1. And so it's what we call a prospective longitudinal study, and what we're trying to do is identify factors that are associated with the best possible outcomes for those children. A couple of things got to me, and of course there's a whole team from right across Canada that's involved in this project. The project actually originates from families, from parents of kids with autism spectrum disorder, clinicians, and policymakers. It comes out of a series of conferences that we had over a number of years through an organization called CAIRN, which stands for Canadian Autism Intervention Research Network. And the objective of those conferences was to sort of tell people what the scientific evidence was, identify what the evidence gaps were in early intervention and early development of children with autism spectrum disorders. And then we asked the community to come up with the research questions that they wanted answers for. And the number one question was, what are the factors that promote healthy development among children with autism spectrum disorders? So that's how it all came about. It didn't arise from the scientists. This is very much a research project that comes out of the community. One important finding is that this is a very heterogeneous disorder, and that to talk about one autism spectrum disorder doesn't make a lot of sense. There are different groups within autism spectrum disorders, and they have a different developmental picture. They change over time in very different ways. And one of the really exciting findings, to my mind, is that we've identified, we think that there's at least a group of maybe about 30% of kids who do really, really well right after the diagnosis, actually within the first year post-diagnosis, that they seem to improve considerably with respect to their social skills and their communication skills. And that's irrespective of the interventions that they receive. Many of those kids don't receive any intervention at all because they've just got the diagnosis and they haven't been able to enroll in a treatment program. So we got to figure out, here's this group of kids who do really, really well. What are the variables that are associated with them doing really, really well? And can we replicate that in an intervention program that might be effective for a broader group of kids? The project couldn't have been done without CIHR funding. You know, this is a big project. It takes place across Canada. There's a site in Halifax, Montreal, Hamilton, Edmonton, Vancouver. It's a big study. It's a lot of kids. Nobody else in this country is prepared to fund a study of that size. It's this kind of funding that really allows science, that I think of this international level, to sort of take off within Canada and ensure that our results are going to be unique.